Hey, everybody.
Hey.
Welcome to #PastorBesties. I'm Nicole.
I'm Melissa.
And today we are talking about something that's coming up very quickly.
Oh my gosh. I have so much planning to do.
Yeah. Ash Wednesday on #PastorBesties. So Ash Wednesday is this week. It's happening. It's coming.
I don't know if I have any ashes.
This is what I do every week during Ash Wednesday. I run to a Catholic supply store because they always have ashes.
I think I may have used up my ashes last year, and then I forgot to burn. Oh my gosh.
Amazon it. You got 2 days.
I got 2 days. Dear Amazon, I need ashes.
Can you buy ashes on Amazon? I feel like you can.
Google
you can
it.
buy everything.
You can buy everything on Amazon.
Or you can burn some palms.
I think we threw away our palms.
Have you ever actually tried to burn palms?
Yeah.
It's really hard.
Oh, I mean,
they're very stringy.
And the smell is interesting.
Yep.
I have a friend who burns palms with their confirmation class and has to explain to parents why they go home smelling like pot. It's just palms. It's just palms,
just
people.
Palms. Wow. They're just really chunky when you burn them yourself. It's hard to get them very fine so they don't just crusty on your face. These are things that pastors worry about when it comes to Ash Wednesday.
Yeah, things to think about. I mean, we think about the other stuff too.
I mean, of course. Right.
So what is Ash Wednesday?
That's such a great question because we celebrate it every year. But I feel like maybe not everybody knows why.
No, I get a lot of questions when I talk about Lent or Ash Wednesday. People are like, isn't that a Catholic thing? I mean, yeah, but it's a Christian thing, so...
Yeah, I think not every denomination celebrates Ash Wednesday or Lent. But the Methodist Church is a pretty high liturgical church.
Yeah, we're mainline.
Really? Yeah. So we like Ash Wednesday.
Okay, so when someone asks you, what is Ash Wednesday, Pastor Nicole? What do you say?
Well, I tell them it's the beginning of the season of Lent, so it's the first day in the 40 days of Lent.
Does Fat Tuesday count in Lent?
No.
I like Fat Tuesday.
Well, you eat pancakes. It's a happy day.
And poochkies.
Yes, but that's the day before Lent starts. So your last day to gorge yourself on pancakes before you can't have them for Lent.
Oh my gosh, so many pancakes.
So the first day in the 40 days of Lent, not including Sundays, of course, which we can talk about in a minute.
Yes.
But it's a day to remember that we are mortal beings, that we will all die, and our bodies are going to return to dust. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust.
Stardust to stardust.
I mean, you're not wrong.
I know.
So
I'm also not humble, so...
I mean, you're not wrong there either. Just kidding. So
I guess I need me some Ash Wednesday.
We all do. That's the thing. We all need that day to be like, oh yeah, I'm living my life, but I'm not always going to be able to live my life.
Right.
Someday it's going to come to an end, and I'm going to have to be responsible for how terrible of a human being I am because I'm sinful and awful. And have you read Psalm 51?
Is that what you say on Ash Wednesday?
I talk a lot about how we are sinful beings and how we need to think about how fallen we are. But there's hope. I always talk about hope. You got to talk about the hope.
Oh, of course. Yeah. I don't think that I say that as much on Ash Wednesday.
What do you talk about?
So I talk about how we're all connected to each other.
That's
and
true.
How I guess I just don't use maybe the word sinful quite as much, but how
I don't know that I actually use you're a sinner, but I mean it's implied.
Sinners in the hands of an angry God. Yeah, I think that I talk about how we're all connected to each other, and so how we behave impacts each other too. So, I mean, the connectional, not just the connectional nature of the church, but our connectedness as human beings, and then our connectedness and also to creation. So that's where, I mean, dust to dust, ashes to ashes. From dust you came, to dust you will return. Right. So this whole, we're all in this big circle together.
What do you say when you impose ashes?
From dust you came, and to dust you will return. Or remember that you are dust.
And to dust you shall return. That's what I say.
Yeah.
Another one that you can say is repent and believe in the gospel.
Oh, I guess that's true too.
That's a Methodist-y one. I mean, it's in the book of worship, but just say it. I feel like I think that in church we strive to be so uplifting and to help people get through life because life is hard. And I feel like the season of Lent, kicking it off with Ash Wednesday, is a time to be more reflective on, man, sometimes life is hard, and sometimes we need to wallow in it, and it's okay to wallow in it, and it's okay to just have a hard time in life sometimes. I like Lent because I feel like it gives me permission to be like, life is hard.
Yeah, I take that. I have that permission all the time, though. I mean...
Well, I feel like it's a season set aside for spiritual intensiveness and to really just,
Yeah, I think... I always think of... So when I think of Ash Wednesday and Lent together, like, Lent is a season of trying to take away some of those things that may keep you from God. So, I mean, that is, I mean, you are talking sometimes sinful behavior or sinning, and those things that have distracted you or have taken your focus away.
Sinful behavior.
Yeah.
Even though it might not be really seem like a sin. But anything that keeps you from God.
That's true. So when you... Okay, so when you give something up for Lent.
Yes.
Let's talk about giving things up for Lent. Because that's a tradition, that's a practice.
Do you do that usually?
So this is where my sort of question comes, or my tension comes, because I think a lot of people will give up traditional things, like, I'm going to give up chocolate for Lent, or...
Sure. Which, there's nothing wrong with that.
No, I think that it's the why. So why are you giving up chocolate? Is it just because, like...
It's a sacrifice.
Well...
It's hard.
For some people, it's not, though. I mean,
I think you should always give up something that you like or is difficult to give up. Otherwise, why are you doing it? Yeah.
So I mean, that's it. So I mean, I used to do like the whole, I'm going to give up sweets, I'm going to give up desserts, and I mean, it's like a challenge, but it's also not like, it's not. I mean, I don't think that you need to give something that kills your soul, but it's not like.
Well, maybe it's what you do with it. So. Right. If you're giving up sweets and every time you want something sweet, you take a minute to pray.
Sure.
And to connect with God, then I think that's a great thing to do.
Sure. Yes, I think that's the important part.
Yeah, there's got to be some kind of... Use it as a trigger.
Yeah. So I think it was last year... I was trying to remember what I gave up last year for Lent, and I think last year was the year that I decided I was not going to eat out at restaurants by myself. That's what I was giving up for Lent. And that I wanted to intentionally have a meaningful conversation every day. So basically,
that's I was like, one.
Yeah. So I was like, if anybody wants to go out to eat and talk to me, help my Lenten practices. But at the time, I remember it was a really busy time, and so it was really easy for me also not to cook and just go out. And so I was like, I want to have some connection,
right?
And intentionally slow down. Or if I don't have someone to go out to eat with, I have to cook at home, which then means my schedule has to change. So there was some intentional slowdown that I did with that.
I think the hardest thing I ever did was one year I led my congregation in doing the Clean Water Challenge, which was give up all beverages except for water. And then everything that you would normally spend on beverages, you donate to help build a well or something, clean water effort somewhere in a third world country. That was hard.
Yeah.
And
I've
you
done that
don't
one
realize how much money you spend on beverages.
Right. Yeah,
Wow.
I've done that one before. I adjusted it when I did it to include coffee
Yeah.
because I was really mean.
I had
And so
somebody
it was
who
a
did
sacrifice
that.
for everybody.
They paid double any time that they did coffee, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah. I did one time. I gave up caffeine. I was dumb.
Not
I
a
was
good
just
one.
mean.
Yeah.
I mean, and probably if I would have just gotten over like the withdrawal symptoms, it would have been fine. But I was like, I hate everyone in the world. I hate Jesus right now because Jesus made me give up coffee, and so this doesn't feel appropriate.
I think, well, I don't hate Jesus. That's not good. No. Or people.
No,
That's like
I know.
That's like the antithesis of what Jesus taught us.
I
To love God and
know.
love people.
So I started drinking coffee again.
I always try to also I always try to give something up, but then also take on a good practice, a
Yeah.
spiritual practice that's going to be helpful in my spiritual life, and then hopefully it sticks around for longer than 40 days.
Right.
Usually it does, depending on what I choose.
Right. And how intentional you are with it too.
Right.
I mean, I think that's that's the big thing. Like,
Yeah.
how intentional are you with what you're doing?
Being, spiritual disciplines are a big part of the Christian faith, and I think a lot of times we don't really focus on them much in the church. But they're really important. And,
Yes.
and it sounds scary, discipline sounds really scary.
I mean, even when you're talking about some of the spiritual disciplines with Lent, I mean, you're talking fasting. You're talking prayer. I mean, those are things that are kind of scary.
Do you have a lot of people that ask you, what's the deal with fasting? I've never done that before. I feel like that's sort of one of those disciplines we don't really talk about.
Yeah.
Or it's kind of out there.
Yeah, every once in a while we'll talk a little bit about fasting, and some folks will be like, but I have medical conditions that I can't fast.
Sure.
Okay.
From food.
From food, right. So you can fast from something else.
Right.
Was it last year that Pope Francis was like, hey, maybe for fasting this year you should give up indifference? Maybe you should give up hatred.
That Pope, I tell you what.
I know.
He's on it.
He is. And so there's that part too. You don't have to give up necessarily chocolate or caffeine.
Right.
Maybe it's I'm giving up racism this year.
Please give up racism.
Please do it all the time.
Can we all do that? Can
Let's
we
do
all
that.
just agree?
Yeah.
Thanks. That'd be great.
And so maybe so that can be painful for some people to intentionally question some of their assumptions and look at life. And I mean, that's hard.
There's a lot of things. Give up being passive aggressive. Yeah.
I know a few people who can do that.
Whoop.
No, see that was passive aggressive. Oh.
I know.
I was just being passive aggressive. I wasn't necessarily talking about you, but now that you named it,
I mean,
I'm going to give a
you're
passive
not wrong.
So far, we are not humble and we're passive aggressive. Happy Lent, everybody!
Aren't you so glad you're learning from us? We are clearly
Amazing.
models of the Christian faith. Oh, Lord.
I guess we need Lent.
We need Lent. This is why we need Lent, because we have so much work to do.
It's true. And I mean, we all have to do it. We're all in this together.
What a great... I always want to bust out in a song when you say that.
I know.
But we are all in it together, and this is such a great season for us all at one time to focus on becoming who God created us to be, right? To focus on becoming who He wants us to be in our everyday lives.
Right.
So let's do it.
Absolutely.
All right.
So, remember that you are dust, and to dust you will return.
See you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.